The Defender Wireless Gamepad, made by Retrofighters. For use with the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and the PC. Going for about $50 on Amazon. My primary interest in this controller was as a PlayStation 3 controller. Unfortunately, I cannot capture PlayStation 3 footage. So all footage in this review is from the PC, but still while using this controller. And this controller has a fairly impressive list of features. It connects via Bluetooth or a wired connection. Has pressure-sensitive buttons. Supports 6-axis control if you want to bowl with it in Grand Theft Auto 4. And is capable of force feedback. And most importantly to me, it has the ability to turn on the PlayStation 3, which is very important as finding official PlayStation 3 controllers is virtually impossible these days. And in terms of functionality, this completely replaces an official PlayStation 3 controller. It's even easier to keep around because it uses USB-C to charge instead of the outdated USB Mini. But that only matters if this is actually a quality controller. So of course I had to test it on a few games, starting with Borderlands 2 to test the sticks. I also played some Infamous, and of course some Dark Souls because I just can't resist. And in all of these games, the sticks were smooth and precise, the buttons had a good feel to them, and were responsive. While using this, I also noticed that the controller is incredibly light, but at no point did it feel fragile. My next thought was to see if this controller would work with PlayStation 1 and 2 games, which oftentimes third-party controllers have issues with on the PlayStation 3. Thankfully, this controller had no issues. It did turn off while it was loading into a PlayStation 2 game, but after turning the controller back on, there was no issue with it working. The same went for PlayStation 1 games, only it didn't turn off while these loaded up. However, there is one small issue with this controller. The D-pad is simply not very good. It's incredibly mushy and doesn't have a definite feel to it. So while yes, the controller technically worked when playing Mega Man Legends, you would not want to play it for an extended period with this D-pad. Overall, this is a great controller, and is definitely the best replacement I have ever found for an official PlayStation 3 controller. The D-pad can be a bit of an issue, but that all depends on what kind of games you're intending to play. More modern games, like most of the PlayStation 3's library, it works just fine for, as they mostly use analog sticks. Same goes for playing PlayStation 2 games. It only becomes an issue when you're trying to play PlayStation 1 games, or modern retro-style games. Which is somewhat ironic given the company that made this is called Retrofighters. Please do subscribe, comment, like, and tell your friends.